We're live. Hi, Doc.
Hey,
What's new in your world, Doc?
hey, it's a great day out.
It is. We're not pushing daisies.
No,
We were just
right.
talking about that. So today we're going to be talking some scouts. We're going to talk to a lot of young people.
Right.
You have written the definitive book on feeder cows and steers and dairy cows and pigs.
Right.
And and I talked to George Sloan, who has the chickens, and he'd love to come for you to come and see his chickens and his ducks. The kid's done a masterful job. He got best in. I'm not quite sure of the nomenclature.
Terminology.
Yeah, for the 4-H at the fair.
Okay.
And then one of my other scouts did well. He's done well so far, but he's got several guinea pigs. So
Okay.
He's done well. And then last week, I told you one of my scouts had got a calf at the calf scramble.
Right.
So so been a good week so far. A couple of weeks so far for my scouts in the 4-H.
Good.
4-H is
Good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about 4-H.
Right.
So anyway.
Oh, positively.
Oh, yeah. I think you agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So we're going to launch into some questions, and if you have any chats, you're welcome to enter them in. And we haven't had our folks join yet, but they will, I'm sure. So the first question that's going to be asked: the kids have to name 2 breeds of livestock in each of the following classification: horses. So what are 2 breeds of horses that you worked on?
Morgans, Arabians, thoroughbreds, quarter horses.
What's your personal favorite?
I would say quarter horses.
Quarter horses.
Yeah.
Now, when you were a kid and before you went to veterinary school, you decided you were going to teach yourself a little more about horses. So you went and borrowed a horse down from down the lane where you grew up. What kind of horse was that? Quarter horse?
No, it was a saddlebred, and it was originally a show horse. And actually, the farmer that had it, his kids were all gone, and the horse just was out in the pasture field for 2 or 3 years. And I felt like that I was going to vet school, and I really needed to know horses better than I did, whereas any other species, I had those down pat. And so I asked him if I could borrow his horse for the summer. And after all, it was just a pasture ornament, basically. And so he said, sure. And I didn't have a horse trailer or anything like that. And I got my brother to drive me to his house 3 miles away. And I had a bridle. I didn't have a saddle. And the horse, I put the bridle on him and walked him all the way home. I thought, now, if he's going to get a little frisky, I don't want to be doing it on the road where I don't have good control.
Well, that was a good call, as it turns out, eh?
Yes. So I got him home and had the bridle on him, and a couple of my brothers was out there kind of to make sure I was getting along okay. And I got on the horse, prepared to ride out into the pasture field. And the horse reared up and fell over backwards. Well, I wasn't getting off that horse. Never thought about that. The horse landed on me. He had a soft landing, and I was pounded into the dirt. The shape of me might still be there. But
so it's a good thing you didn't try that on the road.
Right. And I have never been slammed down any harder than that at that point in my life. Since then, I've had some real humdingers, but I've never been slammed that hard down. And the horse got up, and he was kind of shaking. And I caught him, and this time my brother's saying, "Donald, he's going to kill you." And I get
well, apparently he didn't.
And I got back on the horse again and prepared to ride him, and the horse reared up and fell over backwards again. This time, though, I was smart enough to get off the horse before he fell over on me. And the horse got up, and by this time, the horse was really shaking and the like. And my brother's saying, "Donald, you're going to get killed." And he told me that at least 5 times. And I got on the horse this time, pointed him towards the pasture field, and I rode him. We had a half-mile pasture field with a dairy herd on it. I rode him all the way to the back of the field, and I turned him around towards the house. And coming back to the barn, he went full tilt as fast as he could go, and it's all I could do to hang on to him. I didn't have a saddle, and I rode him back, and I rode that horse every day all summer, going after the dairy herd and bring them in to be milked and this sort of thing.
Of course, probably ended up liking it.
And he, I think he might have. And I trimmed his feet and
We probably like that a lot.
floated his teeth, and that means file the sharp edges off of his teeth, and groomed him and dewormed him and things like that. And I rode him every day all summer.
So there's 2 types of horse breeds you've named: thoroughbreds and Morgans.
That's right.
And what's a Morgan?
A Morgan is a smaller horse, not quite as thick as a quarter horse, and they're noted for being their spectacular horse, pulling carriages and sulkies and things like that. And they developed as a breed with some really special traits about how reliable they were and easy they were to get along with. And they weren't quite such a big horse as the other horses. They generally weigh 900 or 1,000 pounds.
Thoroughbred, quarter horse, Morgan,
Arab,
Arabian horse.
Yeah, Arabian.
Okay, so there's 4 of them. So you got to pick 2, right? Talking to the scouts, or 4-H if you're doing
right,
doing 4-H.
So yes, those are different things.
Okay, how about a couple of? Well, this is something you're going to struggle with. A couple of types of breeds of dairy cattle.
The 2 main ones, and 90% of the cows in this country are Holstein Friesian. They're commonly called Holstein, and they're black and white, and with a mammary gland that often is fairly large. And
they're utterly ridiculous sometimes in their size.
At any rate, they are extraordinarily popular in this country, and probably 80 to 90% of the milk in this country comes from Holstein cows. And then the second breed that is a very high profitability and the like is Jerseys. And they're a smaller cow. They often only weigh 900, maybe 1,000 pounds. And they give about 75% of the milk that a Holstein will give. In other words, they're not quite as, but they also eat about that much less feed. So it's a wash as far as.
If memory serves, they also have a little higher fat content too.
Well, and that was the other part I was going to tell you is today milk is sold by dairy farmers based on protein content and butterfat content. And then lastly is the liquid component, which is called whey, WHEY. And the thing with that, by the way, milk is purchased, Jerseys are very profitable because they're noted for how high the protein and butterfat content of their milk is. Now, Holsteins weren't originally geared that way, but believe it or not, Holsteins today now have much higher protein and butterfat content than they did 20 years ago.
Yeah, because of selective breeding.
Right.
Okay, we got a question. So how did dairy cows convert forage into milk? So that's going to be part of a question that we're going to answer here in a minute.
Well, you know what? This is an hour's lecture.
Okay.
And I'm going to give a summary version. Basically, cows are a select group of what's called ruminants. And ruminants refers to what their digestive tract is. And other ruminants are things like...
Requirement 3, by the way, this is what he's telling you about.
Is like sheep and goats, where they have 4 compartments to their stomach. And deer also are a ruminant, but they only have 3 compartments to their stomach. And the first one on a cow is the rumen, which is a huge fermentation vat. It'll actually, if you was to fill it with water, it'll hold 60 gallons, 70 gallons.
That's a lot.
And the second component of their stomach is the reticulum, which kind of looks like a honeycomb, and it's not very big, but the idea is if a cow has scarfed down something and it happened to have some metal in it, or a nail or something like that, the reticulum, which is also called the hardware stomach, will trap that so that most of the time it doesn't penetrate through the stomach wall and make the cow deathly sick.
So it would also track rocks and bones and sticks and what have you.
Well, not so much. And the other thing is with cows is every cow is given a magnet, which I should have got one out, but it's the size of my finger, about like that. And you drop them in, a cow swallows it, and it slides down into that hardware area, or the reticulum, that honeycomb, and it lays there. And so if there is metal coming through, the magnet will grab a hold of it, and so that it doesn't travel any further. Then the third component of the stomach is the omasum, and it's primarily a water retention device, absorbing water out of the feed. And the fourth compartment is the abomasum, and the abomasum is a true stomach, like mine, yours, pigs, horses, and this sort of thing. And it has hydrochloric acid and all the different acids in it that other animals.
So the stomach is broken into four parts in order to digest all of the fiber that comes inbound and all of the other feed that comes inbound. So that when it gets to that last stomach, that's where it's pulling the nutrients and what have you.
Well, it's pulling some of the nutrients. The main part of the nutrients is in the small intestine, where the vitamins and the minerals are absorbed from, and things like that. But certainly the abomasum is one of the primary organs that absorbs nutrients. And so by having this system, ruminants, or cattle and sheep, are very efficient about eating things that other animals can't eat, like pigs and ourselves, where we can eat them, but we can't digest them. And so they go on through. And so cows and sheep are very efficient, and goats are very efficient at consuming cellular fibrous products that other animals can't digest. And the rumen has all kinds of protozoa and bacteria and this sort of thing designed to digest them. And the interesting thing is the cow scarfs down a whole bunch of feed. And you understand, sometimes if you talk about it on a wet weight basis, they'll eat as much as 100 pounds of feed a day.
And that sounds like that could get expensive if you're not careful.
Well, the thing is, now I say 100 pounds, understand corn silage is 50% water, and that's one of the things that are. So on a dry matter basis, they're probably going to eat 50 or 55 pounds of feed, because there's a lot of water in grass and this sort of thing that they're consuming. And so when they consume that, then they go and lay down, and they kind of get like in a trance. Their eyes are half closed, and it's called chewing their cud. And what that refers to is all this food they scarf down in really short time frame. They cough it up, a mouthful at a time, re-chew it, and they're mixing saliva with it. And the saliva buffers the pH to make the pH in that 6.2 to 6.5 range, which is optimum for the fermentation and digestion. So they do that, modify that pH like that, and then it moves on past the hardware stomach or the reticulum, in case there's any metal or something like that in there. And by the way, that isn't a big problem today because every dairy farmer has magnets on equipment and this sort of thing to make sure that
They're pulling the metal out of it.
Pulling the metal out of anything that might be in there. And so the rumen, and we're talking about tremendous amounts. So, as I said, 100 pounds of wet feed goes into them, and then back to the through the omasum, absorbing water, and then the abomasum, where hydrochloric acid and all those kind of things like we have, they can digest. And then the small intestine is where they also can absorb a whole bunch of nutrients that we can't or they can't handle otherwise, and it's undigestible to us.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what's unique about ruminant animals, particularly cows. Whereas horses, on the other hand, they eat grass, and so we need to talk about that a little. They don't have a rumen or any of those kind of things. However, they've got an area called a cecum, which is quite large. It's not like a cow. Cows can hold 60 gallon, and a cecum might hold 7 or 8 gallon. And the forages has to go through that cecum, and they have bacterial enzymes and bacteria and protozoa there that will allow the horse to consume cellular products and digest it. But they aren't near as efficient at doing that as what a cow is.
So that efficiency for the cow, when they're giving milk, when they've, now a heifer won't be able to give milk until they're pregnant, right?
Right.
So once the heifer has had a calf, they're giving milk, and so they just continue to encourage that milk production by milking them regularly twice a day,
or three, more popularly 3 times or more a day.
Yeah.
And today we have robots that are available for cows to be milked by, and they're stationed out in the barn area. And so there's places that these robots are all set up that a cow gets the urge that she wants to be milked. She walks into the stall where that is, some feed is dropped down in front of her, and the robot preps her teats, cleans the teats, disinfects the teats, dries the teats, and attaches a milker unit to her teats, and she's milked. When the milk flow ceases, then the robot removes each one of these teat cups from each of the teats, and then the robot disinfects the teats again, sanitizes them with usually 0.25% iodine or something like that, and does that, and then it'll open the gate and allow her to walk out. And she can come up and be milked as often as they want, although they try to set it so that they don't go in there more than 4 times a day.
Yeah. So there you go, answering that question, which covers us on a couple of things. So we talked about 2 different types of dairy cows, a Holstein and
Jersey.
There's lots more.
There are other
the 2
breeds.
Predominant breeds.
Yes, and brown Swiss are noted also for that, although they're often not quite as heavy producers as Holsteins, and they're not near as popular. Although they're a bigger cow, and they originated from what was called a dual breed, meaning that they were raised for their milk production and also to go to a packing plant and convert them to meat and steaks and that sort of thing.
i.e. Swiss steaks? Okay. Okay. How about a couple of types of beef cattle?
Well, beef cattle, one of the major ones is Angus, Aberdeen Angus, the full name, but Angus cows, and they're black. And they are been bred genetically. They've gotten very good at consuming grass and converting it to meat and milk, and their calf. And they don't weigh as much as what like a Holstein would usually. In other words, a Holstein as a mature adult might be 1,350 to up to 1,500 pounds. where an Angus will be 1,000 or 1,200 pound. And they are out on pasture, not near the inputs that a dairy cow requires. And they'll deliver a calf while they're on pasture. And usually there's a herdsman there kind of supervising to make sure things are going right for them. And they nurse that calf until they're 5-6 months old. And then the calves are weaned from them, and the cows are kind of on a maintenance diet program on grass until they get close to their next calving. And then they may step up the nutritional program a little bit for their calf.
So how long is it, just out of curiosity, how long will, hi Ruby, how long will it take from the calf birth to they're ready for market?
The calf birth, and they'll be on the cow for 4 or 5 months or 6 months frequently. And ideally that calf will be ready to go to the processing plant when they're 12 to 14 months old, the really good ones. A lot of them, though, they don't get there till they're 16 months old. And it just depends on how fast growing they are and things like that.
Yep.
And we didn't mention other breeds of beef cattle. There's Shorthorn and Charolais and a whole bunch of different ones like that.
And you mentioned the Japanese have a breed that you encountered when you were in Japan. And what was the name of that? I can't remember the name of that. It begins with a W.
Wagyu.
Wagyu, yes.
Wagyu.
I saw somebody was advertising a Wagyu Angus mix.
Yes. Now, what's neat about Wagyu is that they have twice as much marbling as other breeds of cattle. Now, marbling refers to fat being grown, incorporated into the muscle tissue and the like, so that when those steaks are barbecued or broiled or whatever, they're incredibly delicious. That fat, a lot of it kind of melts out of the area, but as far as the quality and taste, it's incredibly good.
Yeah, I remember my dad getting back from Japan talking about how good the Kobe beef was,
right?
Which was Wagyu,
right?
That's if right. I said that right,
yes,
Wagyu.
It's Kobe, it's Kobe, and Wagyu Wagyu.
Okay, all right. So we've got 2 beef cattle, and how about a couple of kinds of sheep? Boy, there must have been a half a dozen breed of sheep at the we were at the Champaign County Fair. It's still open until Friday. Go to the Champaign County Fair. It's, as far as you know, the second largest junior fair in the state of Ohio.
That's correct. They have lots of animals and 4-H projects and all kinds of things. It's Champaign County Fair is really geared towards youth.
Yeah, it's a wonderful fair. So we had milkshakes at the Rotary. So go up to the Rotary and get a milkshake or some ice cream, or go to the Methodist your church.
Yes, Grafton.
Grafton, yeah, they have very reasonably priced food and it's delicious. A lot of fun there. Go to the Champaign County Fair. Corky would appreciate it.
Yes.
So anyway,
Corky is the new fair secretary that manages most of the affairs.
Yep. So, and okay, so a couple of types of sheep. What couple of breeds of sheep?
Well, they're divided into a couple categories, and that is sheep that are for wool and sheep that are for mutton or meat or lamb, leg of lamb, and that sort of thing. And there's popular breeds are Hampshire, Suffolk, Suffolk, and Shropshire. Just there's 14 or 15 kinds of breeds of sheep. Corriedale.
Those are the predominant ones that you just mentioned.
Right.
And there's many. Okay, couple of types of hogs, and unless you can make mention of the record-breaking hog that was on Dave Letterman, which you took care of too. So,
Okay.
a couple of types of hog. And what kind of hog was that, by the way?
That was a Poland China on David Letterman. And while we got that topic up, there was a local swine farm, a small farm, and the owner was semi-retired, and his hobby was growing some pigs. And he decided to grow the biggest boar hog that he could. And he did. He raised a boar hog.
That's Hogzilla, that's for sure.
1,350 pounds. And I mean, this was a huge hog. And
I've seen one, I think that was 700 pounds, and that was huge.
Yes. Well, this thing is really huge. And he actually won the title of the largest boar hog in the world and exhibited it at the Iowa State Fair.
I wonder if that's still the Guinness Book of World Records on that.
I believe it is.
That's pretty big.
And he at the Ohio State Fair, and he ended up being invited to be on David Letterman's late night show. And so a
lot of people don't know who Dave Letterman is anymore.
So. I know. It's kind of like the Johnny Carson or one of the other guys that.
I don't know who replaced him now.
Yeah. At any rate, that hog and the owner appeared on David Letterman as being the largest boar hog in the world.
So my question is, did he have him potty trained on David Letterman? He was calling cards on the stage.
I honestly don't. I saw the segment, and I honestly think he didn't leave his calling card on the stage. But I got to tell you that hogs can be housebroke.
That's kind of why I mentioned that, because I thought that was curious.
But that isn't usual on most swine operations to do that. I think a memory of mine that I'll never forget is getting called that they had a sow that these people did. They had one sow, and she needed her hooves trimmed. Now, mostly a pig will wear his hooves off and that sort of thing, but this sow was the family pet. And so they called me and asked me to trim her hooves, and the sow was laying on the couch in the house. And the house, I believe the hog was housebroken. I didn't see that first. And,
well, there's some people live here in Urbana that have a goat that they have inside. And I'm like, and there's people that do goat yoga, and the goats climb on them and do whatever, and the goat does the goat thing, and okay, good.
So
not
anyway,
for me,
they
but
do.
That sounds
and
cool.
By the way, dogs are smart, but pigs are even smarter.
Got another question from Lynn, one of Lynn's boys. What's the difference between A1 and A2 milk? You've talked about this before.
I'm not able to quote the specific fats in it, but the lactose in A1 milk, some people are milk intolerant, meaning that they can't drink milk because they'll get sick.
Of an allergy to it or what have you.
Yes, right. And they've tested this out enough to realize that there's more than one type of butterfat in cow's milk. And if they get a cow that they identify them that produces A2 butterfat, many people that are lactose intolerant can drink that milk without anything done to it. And so we have a local herd here that they're difficult to find. There aren't very many of them out there, but we've got a local herd, Woodruff's Farm Market and the like. Half their herd is of cows or jerseys are
as far as
A2 milk.
As far as we know today.
Yes,
as far as we know today. Well, we're coming down to end. We're going to be back on Friday.
Okay.
I don't know what time yet. I got to check my schedule.
Okay.
So I'll get back with you. I will post that today. I'll call you when I get home and look at my schedule, and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
It'll be around that time, but we'll get that posted. And I just wanted to talk about your book.
this is a book. This is my 11th book. The rest of them are all technical books on how to raise pigs, how to feed cattle, how to milk dairy cows. I mean, I've got several things like that, and then a pig book that goes into the details. This book is a book of stories, though, of my career. Some stories are absolutely hilarious. Some stories are kind of sad, and some stories are an embarrassment to me of things that have happened to me during my career.
Beyond the Barn, dodging the cow patch for 50 years as a country vet. Now you can order it from his website, Vaca Resources, VACA Resources.com, and you'll sign it.
That's correct.
So I think your wife is allowing you to use crayons these days, isn't she?
Yes.
So no, I'm joking. He'll sign it for you, or you can get it on Amazon. But if you search for it on Amazon, type in Beyond the Barn, dodging the cow patties for 50 years as a country vet. And that's the great way to search it. So we've hit our 30 minutes today and then some, and we'll be back to continue this conversation, meeting the requirements for some scouts and 4-H about different aspects.
Sure, that's great.
So, and this is on YouTube, and we'll post a link on Facebook, and maybe on TikTok if they're behaving. The Chinese are not getting in the way of things.
Yes.
Did I say that? Okay.
Right.
Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.